Hello again, thanks for staying. Now to our very first story. The Bank of Ghana has assured depositors it has measures in place to ensure their funds with any bank are safe. This follows reports that one of the troubled banks has been hit by massive withdrawals. Let's get more details on this development from George Uafe, who has been following the issue. And George, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Why the sudden development? Why this sudden
Well,
panic?
again, we're still trying to gauge from these depositors of this particular bank that we are not going to mention the name right now. But it looks like some of these depositors are afraid that their funds with this particular bank is not safe because they could go down very soon. And that is why we've seen these panic withdrawals and massive withdrawals. So let's just say that some of them are closing their accounts with this particular bank. So it looks like for some, they are still not satisfied with what happened or what the Bank of Ghana is saying with respect to how this whole UT and Capital Bank issue was handled. And they believe that they can move their funds to another bank. Well, some are also keeping it somewhere, which is outside the banking system.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has been assuring. Now, what is the basis for this assurance?
Well, they are saying that, look at what happened to UT and Capital Bank. And there were people who actually were saving with UT Bank, and they still have access to their funds. No one has come out to say that they were saving with Capital Bank and they cannot access their funds. So that one alone is enough to give you some assurance that even if this bank should go down or they should exercise that right of closing this bank down, you still have access to your funds. So there isn't any basis for you to worry. Again, they are saying that we are on touch, or we are totally in tune with what has happened at this particular bank. And every day we are monitoring developments there. And we might not allow it to get to that stage where it could close down because it's having financial issues, it's having problems with cash flow and all those things, for them to take that action of closing it down. So all these things that we are doing on a daily basis should bring about some confidence to depositors that it won't happen, or maybe we will not get there.
And do you think that depositors are assured of this?
It still looks like, if you gauge the response and if you look at the liquidity report and all the rest, it looks like they are not satisfied. And therefore, Bank of Ghana might have to do something else to convince you and I that maybe something else should be done.
Is it just because of hindsight? I mean, what has happened to UT Bank and Capital Bank? Or you think there are other issues?
There are other issues as well, because when you think that the bank hasn't got a good position, when you think that the future is not good for you as a depositor, and don't forget, it's not just about the depositors. There are some massive companies that hold huge funds with this particular bank, and they believe that maybe when they need their money and the amount that they are saving on this bank, maybe they cannot get it. So why should we hold these funds at this place when we need the money, we may have problems in getting that money on time? And therefore, can I move these funds to a different institution that I can get it exactly when I want the money and all the rest? And some of these companies or these corporate funds, they are not just for that company. They're also managing other people's funds.
Now, this bank that you don't want to mention names, I mean, has the bank tried merging with any other bank to forestall any closure?
Well, right now, it is not a solvency issue. Okay. It is more of in terms of having that cash flow problem. Okay. So that can be corrected if there is a massive injection from an external partner or even the regulator. But again, you also want to be careful that you are injecting the capital for something to happen. If the regulator, after their surveillance and their necessary due diligence and all the rest, and they see that really this injection wouldn't help the situation, then maybe they might not be quick to push in that money. Because over the past 2 years, remember that we understand that some 8 billion cedis was pumped into some of these troubled banks to help them stay afloat. Okay. So it appears that the Bank of Ghana is also being very careful on how they go with this approach in trying to help this bank. We understand that bank itself is in discussions with some strategic investors to try and help them improve their financial situation and even help them meet minimum capital requirement. But it appears that when it comes to that and they're able to close the deal, maybe the ownership will change and they will still have
finally, before you go, what has been the response from industry players itself?
I mean, for those in the industry, I feel they knew about it. And among themselves, they know those banks that are having cash flow problems. They know those banks that are facing serious liquidity issues. And therefore, for a lot of them, it's not it's not a big deal. It's about what is the bank in question itself doing to quickly improve the situation. When you also engage some analysts as well, they believe that in terms of the Bank of Ghana's whole approach in trying to convince the depositors or even the public that everything is safe, they might have to up their game, because it looks like the channels and the mediums that they are using, a lot of those who matter out there might not be convinced. And therefore, for the industry, direct industry players, they believe that should the Bank of Ghana step in quickly to help this bank? Maybe yes, now. For the outsider and those who are watching developments, they believe that Bank of Ghana should be more on the market, giving assurances to people out there that we are on top of issues and we wouldn't allow another bank to go down. Because again, when you engage the Bank of Ghana, what you get from them that closing the bank again would be a last option.
All right, thank you very much, George.
Thank you so much, Jafe, to talk to you on a Friday on Marketplace.
Sure, can't wait. Now, in a related development, the Managing Director of Fidelity Bank, Jim Baden, says the current challenges facing the industry should be over when the sector completes implementing new capital levels. Mr. Baden was speaking to Joy Business at the launch of a book on developing Africa's financial services.
The introduction of the new minimum capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis is to signal consolidation. Currently, for a small economy like Ghana, which has a GDP of around $30 billion, 36 banks are too many, one too many. And therefore, the Bank of Ghana introduced the new minimum capital requirements to signal consolidation amongst other objectives. So without a doubt, Fidelity, being a very strong Ghanaian bank, is likely to look around and get a few other small banks to merge into our operations, to integrate into the bank.
In the wake of this recapitalization issue, there have been cases of some banks facing massive withdrawals, by their customers. And this brings into bear the issue of the confidence in the banking sector. What do you think can be done to show up the confidence?
The confidence will come back. At the end of the consolidation, which from Bank of Ghana's perspective should be end of next year, 2018, it is likely that the 19 or so Ghanaian banks would consolidate into about 5 or 6 Ghanaian banks. So they'll become bigger institutions, which will have bigger capital and bigger and more liquidity. And so I don't think anybody should entertain any fears that their banks are going to collapse. There's no need for anybody to rush to withdraw their money.
Now, Mr. Jim Baden has also been sharing his views on customer service in the sector. One of the major concerns of some customers is to raise about transacting businesses with banks having to wait in long queues at the various banking halls. This development, according to the bank, can be resolved through a mechanized system of bank transactions. He spoke with Joy Business on high-impact entrepreneurship.
The main impact of this very launch is to explore the best ways by which high-impact entrepreneurship can best bridge the unemployment gap in the country and, of course, boost the financial services gap in the nation. We shall be speaking to the MD of the Fidelity Bank in the person of Jim Baden on what this means exactly to the bank. The book launch under the theme Developing Africa's Financial Services, the Importance of High-Impact Entrepreneurship, saw management of Fidelity Bank assuring customers that their funds are safe despite the recent recapitalization of banks. Jim Baden is the MD of Fidelity Bank.
Financial services in Africa is growing by the day. From country to country, if you look at the Kenya landscape, we have emerging banks like Equity Bank, who can truly be described as first-class, world-class banks these days.
On his part, President of the Private Enterprise Federation, PEF, Nana Osei-Bonsu, urged government to create an enabling environment for local enterprises to expand and remain one of the best in Africa.
We do not, and let me emphasize, we do not have to depend on foreign direct banks to come and give us the liquidity that we need. We can create them locally. Because you see, when a bank is coming with this capitalization, let's assume the current 100 million, within 6 months, they have access of 2 billion. Where did that come from? From within. They were able to mobilize. So we have to find schemes and avenues of mobilizing like Fidelity had been able to do, and we can, believe me, do better than that. So we need success stories like, Fidelity, and it has to be, and I'm glad that the chief advisor to the vice president is sitting in the group, and we want him to carry the message that we need a policy, priority policy of capital mobilization in the local fund owned by the local Ghanaian indigenous businesses.
The book co-authored by Professor Dana Radford and co-authored by Professor Kweku Apia Edu.
Let's also stay within the banking space, and Odotobri Rural Bank has dedicated the 2016 CIMG Rural Bank of the Year Award to customers of the bank. As part of the International Customer Week celebration, the bank says it couldn't have achieved success without the customers' contribution. Ebenezer Sabute has more in this report.
The bank has been recognized by the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG. Odotobri Rural Bank won the maiden edition of the same award when rural banking was included in the award scheme in 2012. The award was conferred on the bank at the 28th National Marketing Performance Award ceremony in Accra. Speaking with Joy Business, Chief Executive of the bank, Siaka Baba Ahmed, said the award gives them more strength to forge ahead.
I thank Board of Directors, management, staff, shareholders, and everybody who has something to do with Odotobri. I dedicate this award to the customers of the bank. We did all this with them, and we did it because of them. We thank them for having faith in the bank. We promise that going forward, Odotobri Rural Bank will have a lot of things for the customers. They should keep faith with us. As we do every day, you listen to them, and you do what will promote their businesses.
He also expressed gratitude to the management team and the entire staff as he recognized their unique individual roles, which saw the bank to win this prestigious award.
Now, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofi Inti, has expressed confidence they will meet revenue targets for the year 2017. This is due to increase in tax compliance in the country by the end of August this year. Addressing journalists at a press conference, Commissioner General said the revenue numbers are picking up largely due to domestic mobilization strategies.
Is that we are putting the numbers together. And in the course of the early part of next week, we will be able to state the numbers as they relate to September. But as at the end of August, we are short of the target by negative 4.3%. So that of the 100% that we were supposed to have achieved, we had achieved 95.7% as at August. And in that month, going forward, the customs area has been the area we had a lot of challenges. And by the end of June, we are recording a deviation of double digits. I mean, by the second half, by the first half of the year, we are having a double digits deviation in the customs area. And we had reduced it to negative 8.3 as at August ending. For the month of August, the deviation from the customs was 2.3. Provisionally, we have negative 1.08 in September. So basically, we are doing well in the customs area. And then the domestic area have been doing better. And so we are projecting that by September, if the numbers are put together, we will be lower than the 4.3 that we had recorded for the August.
Now, managers of the Ghana Integrated Financial System Management System, GIFMIS, says the initiative has not only helped reduce corruption and fraud in the public sector, but also saved the country from judgment debts 5 years after its introduction. The system was introduced in 2012 to improve efficiency and transparency in the management of public funds. and this is said to have been largely achieved so far. This came to light at a stakeholder meeting in the Upper West Regional Capital, from where correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
The Ghana Integrated Financial Management System, GIFMIX, was adopted in 2012 to facilitate budget preparation and execution, accounting and financial reporting, cash, assets, human resource and payroll management. The aim is to establish an integrated ICT-based public financial management information system across MDAs and MMDAs in order to improve efficiency and achieve comprehensiveness and transparency in the management of public funds. Stakeholder meetings are being held across the country to discuss the roadmap and major activities to ensure the smooth implementation of the program on the remaining 156 MMDAs in the country. Head of Local Government Service, Dr. Nana Atoata, in a speech read on his behalf by a director at the Local Government Secretariat, Dr. Charles Kessie, underscored the importance of the GIFMIS project.
GIFMIS, when fully implemented, will address the problems concerning lack of integration between budget, preparation, and execution systems, inadequate budgetary controls, lack of interface between various PFM systems across MDAs and MMDAs, undue delays in processing transactions due to cumbersome manual processes, and poor record keeping on public financial transactions, among others.
Project manager of GIFMIX, Alhaji Suraj Tanko, noted that with the implementation of the project, it has been able to reduce corruption, fraud, and above all, save the country from judgment debts.
One of the things that also GIFMIX try to encourage to avoid judgment debts is to say, look, as a contractor, we sensitize contractors on this. If you don't get a PO, purchase order, from the GIFMIX printed out and given to you, do not execute the contract. Because when you do, it means the Minister of Finance is not aware, it's not part of the budget. What will happen? If you are not able to pay, they'll take government to court. It shouldn't be. So once you budgeted for something, it's in the budget. What we are saying is, as a contractor, wait, insist on PO from GIFMIX system that warrants you to start the contract going forward.
Alhaji Suraj also alleged the fears of officials of MMDAs that the project is not being implemented to make them redundant.
We are not coming to take over any officer's job, but rather to improve, to bring about efficiency in what they are doing. Remember, when GIFMIX come to you, is the business processes that we bring a technology that use this technology in processing. Don't do it manually. It will bring about efficiency. It will give you some kind of skills that you did not acquire before. It will bring about transparency, knowing who did this, who did that. At the end of the day, you all be free to do. So the fear of us taking the work from them shouldn't be entertained. That is not the case.
60 assemblies in the country have so far been rolled into the GIFMIX project since its introduction 5 years ago. Reporting for Joy Business, Rafiq Salam.
And down in Kumasi, vocational and technical institutions have undergone training on how to commercialize their products and innovations. It is aimed at encouraging creation of indigenous businesses in the wake of high unemployment cases in the country. Prince Apia attended the workshop and now reports.
The Kumasi National Vocational Training Institute, Kumasi Technical University, Methodist Technical Institute, Kumasi Hive, and Kumasi Institute of Tropical Agriculture are among participants of the training program. Products exhibited at the session included a mobile cassava grater, a gari jollof, and a security robot. International NGO Economy for the Common Good is spearheading the initiative to transform entrepreneurship into a common good economic model. Obain Ndakon is African coordinator of the group.
We have a global problem which can be traced back to the economic system. There are plenty of crises we see here and there, and we have developed an understanding how all these problems are related to one another. And that's why we created this instrument to assess all the efforts a company is making towards a sustainable future for the whole humanity. And if we do something about humanizing relationships in the business field right from the beginning, if you learn as a young entrepreneur to have a clear idea what is the aim of your activity, then you will have a good impact on society.
Lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Department of Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Eunice Atrekon Ajay, looks at opportunities for collaboration.
And for me to see those end products coming out, I was really fascinated. So please, I'm booking appointments. Definitely, you will see me at Kumasi Hive this month with students. Honestly, I was very, very impressed whilst I was out there. So definitely, we will come over and add on to the knowledge that we have, but this time around, the practical aspect of the application of the courses we teach them and how they can modify it into a creative product. So definitely, you will see us. So we will book an appointment with you right after this, please.
Meanwhile, Bureau Chief of Climate Change Reporters in Ghana, Kofi Edudomfe, admonished entrepreneurs to inject environmental consciousness in their businesses.
And for you young entrepreneurs or people who are already in business, it is high time we also started thinking about how we can act responsible. What products, the products we're coming out with, how environmentally friendly are they, and how best can we ensure that indeed every product is produced to suit the environment.
Prince Apia reporting.
And on that note, we draw the curtains down on this afternoon's edition of the Marketplace. Many thanks for joining me throughout the week. And of course, we hope to see you again next week with more stories from the world of business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a great weekend.